Hey everyone, and welcome back to I May Destroy You by The Verdict's In. I'm your host, Nicole.
I'm Gary.
And today we're talking about I May Destroy You, episode 4, entitled That Was Fun. I didn't think any of it was fun.
I was thinking that.
So I don't know.
What was so fun about this relationship?
Yeah, what was fun?
Not relationship, episode.
I think they were being sarcastic, like, so that was fun. But I didn't like this episode.
Well, I think it all started off fun.
Did it? Did any of it start off fun?
Yeah, it started off the way they wanted it to start off, but it just didn't end right.
Yeah, I thought it was just a sad episode, and I guess
it was pretty sad.
Everything going on right now in the world, like, I didn't need any more sadness, and we got like 2 sexual assaults this episode. I thought like the sexual assault had ended, like we were only gonna get flashbacks of that or her dealing with the trauma, but it just goes to show you that, like, here she is trying to heal, and she's sexually assaulted again. But we'll get into that. What were your overall thoughts?
Okay, we'll get into it.
Yeah. I already hear where you're about to go with that.
Overall, this was a very good episode. I'm glad they're keeping it 100% real. I mean, they keeping everything real.
I will admit, it did seem real. Everything seemed realistic.
Right.
But I did not like it. I didn't like it at all. So we start off and we get Bella. She's in therapy. She's not comfortable talking about her situation. And the therapist is like throwing out some ideas to help her get her mind off things or help her kind of heal. And Bella like sticks with him, and she's like, drawing. She's like, okay, drawing. I can talk to Ben. And like literally texts Ben right in the middle of her therapy session to say, hey, we should draw. And I think it's just because she feels so awkward to talk about what happened to her. So she's like trying to get away from that.
And it is an awkward situation.
It is.
Because you're speaking to someone, you don't want to say too much because you don't want to feel like they're being too judgy.
Right.
And at the same time, I mean, I'm pretty sure it's still embarrassing for her.
Yeah. It shouldn't be, but yeah,
it shouldn't be. But just to sit across from somebody and know that they know why you're there.
Right. And then it didn't hurt as much, but when she first said, like, well, I try to get my mind off it by saying, like, you know, there's hungry children, the war is going on in Syria, not everyone has a smartphone, to, like, kind of remind herself of the bigger picture. And I know, like, I don't think people still do. Well, they probably do. But, like, I know how, like, say you're having a bad day and you're like, my boss is rude to me. And someone else is like, well, I can't pay my rent this month. And it's like, okay, yes, yours may seem a little serious. It doesn't mean that my situation's not as bad. And I think that's what she was trying to use. Like, yes, this bad thing happened to me, but to make herself feel better, to make herself kind of heal from this, she's like, okay, yes, this happened to me, but there's war going on here. There's children hungry.
Yeah, there's worse things happening.
There's worse things happening. And that's always going to be true. No matter what your situation is, there's probably always something worse. But it doesn't make what your situation is, like what your situation you're going through, not important.
Right.
You know, and I know we use a joke, first world problems. People talk about that. And yeah, most of that stuff is not that important, but it doesn't matter. Like if your coffee's late, you're kind of going to get mad.
Well, the thing is, you can't tell anybody what's important to them.
Right. Right.
You don't know anybody's mental state. So you can't say, oh, that's not really that bad. Why you get mad over that? And that's like you telling someone about their relationship. Oh, you need to let this person go. They're doing you like this, this, and this.
Right.
And that person like, yeah, but, you know, I still love this person, whatever. You can't tell anyone how to feel about nothing.
Yeah.
Period.
Or sometimes they might be crying over, you think they're crying over one thing or upset about one thing, and it could be like 5 other things that happened to them. That could be the boiling point that, like, fuck, I dropped my sandwich. And it's like, well, that's not that big a world. No, but let me tell you the 5 things that happened before me dropping my sandwich. This was the last fucking straw. So you're, like, pissed off now. So, yeah, like, I felt her in that. Like, I felt when she said it. And then later on when she's on the bus, that's kind of where I teared up a little because she's uncomfortable on the bus. And she just starts repeating that, like, children are hungry. Syria, there's a war in Syria. Like, I'm like, oh, no. Like, it brought tears to my eyes. Honestly, it did.
And it's a genuine feeling.
Yeah,
it's so real.
Right.
Because I know anytime I go through something bad, I want to be around people.
Yeah.
You know, I want to have company to comfort other people. Just something to take my mind off of it.
Right. Sorry, go ahead.
Because the more you sit around, the more you think about it.
And I was going to say that's why a lot of people turn to drugs and stuff like that. And who knows, we did see her before getting sexually assaulted. We don't know what her past is, but we see her taking so much drugs. And I saw someone on Twitter say, like, I've never seen black girls take that many drugs in one night. And, like, I felt them. Like, I've never seen that many drugs. You take, like, one or two. Like, that was a lot of drugs to take. So it does beg the question, like, what... not trying to, like, look deeper into it, but was there something in her past, maybe not sexually assault?
Yeah, but people need to stop that.
What?
Because I've seen black people, and I don't know, people consider stuff hardcore drugs, soft drugs, but I've seen black people so fucking drunk they could barely move.
Yeah.
They're crawling, they're on the ground, they fall asleep wherever they at, laying down in their own throw up. You may not consider that a drug, but it's a drug also.
It is a drug. It is a drug, yep. I know, just because it's legal. That's the thing. People think, oh, if they're doing it, it's legal. It doesn't mean that it's not a drug.
Right. I mean, there's some people that go way beyond their limit.
Mm-hmm.
I've been there before. I've been way above my drinking limit.
Yeah.
I've been way above my smoking limit before.
Yep.
I'm talking marijuana. I'm not talking nothing past that.
No hardcore?
No hardcore. But I've been way above that limit before where I'm like, man, I'm too high.
Too high. There is such a thing as being too high. It's not fun.
So you can't, they need to stop that where you never seen a black person do that much drugs. Maybe it just looked crazy because she may be doing a whole bunch of different drugs, but it doesn't matter. If you smoking, you drinking, you sniffing, whatever.
Yeah.
Too much is too much.
Yep. Everything in moderation, even drugs. So, yeah, I thought it was funny when I read that because I was like, I feel them, but I get what you're saying at the same time as well.
Yeah, when I was looking at it, I'm like, damn, that's too much. But people always go overboard. Man, I know somebody that just pass out every weekend. Mm-hmm. Just go overboard and I'd be like, no, man, this is your damn limit.
You ain't got no chill. Yeah.
I mean, some people get to the point that you just can't hang out with them no more.
Right. If I got to babysit you, it's not fun.
Right.
All right. So Kwame, and I'm going to say some things, and I swear it has nothing to do with Kwame's sexuality. It was just the situation. Like, I would have judged, or I would have had the same thoughts if this was a guy and a girl or whatever, or two girls, whatever the case. But we see Kwame in the grocery store, and he's texting somebody, and I'm all about, like, having your fun. He's single, he's young, he's mingling, right? But next thing you know, he meets up with this dude in this nasty ass grocery bathroom, which I wouldn't be shopping at that grocery store. If that bathroom is that dirty, how y'all treating these groceries? How are you guys, like, making sure my groceries are fresh if this bathroom is this gross?
You know my rules.
Right.
That's even with a restaurant.
That's with the restaurant. You check the bathroom.
If I go in a restaurant and I can't wash my hands at the sink because it's so nasty, that means the workers are not washing their hands. Right. I mean, they're going there and be like, and just walking out.
And that's how I feel about the grocery store. The employees are in there, and it was gross. So we see him hooking up with a guy, and I don't know if he was taking his grandmother shopping or if this was like just a lady he helps out, because we didn't see them afterwards, like leave the store together. But I just thought, I was like, Kwame, I don't know. That scene made me a little uneasy just based on
that right there
the environment.
Was a hookup. That was somebody that he didn't know. I think he just met him online or whatever. They just happened to be shopping there, and the guy said meet him in the bathroom.
Yeah, because I was going to say, how did they know, if they didn't know each other, how did they know they were in the store? But I believe Tinder tells you how close a person is, but I didn't know it told you that close. Like, I assumed it said, yeah, this person lives within a 3-mile radius of you. But this literally could be like Pokemon Go, where it's like, I'm 500 feet away from you. That's why, because the guy was like, are you in the grocery store? And I was like, oh, that's weird. How do you know? But that's too weird. I wouldn't want to use an app like that if they can tell that's how close
it depends on what you're using the app for.
Yeah.
Like, it's weird for you because if you're looking to meet somebody, you probably wouldn't go on that app because you want to actually meet them, get to know them, go on a couple of dates. But if you use the app just to hook up, then that's probably the perfect app.
Yeah, but then if you're at home and you turn the app on, will the person be able to see, like, where you are? And then now they know that, okay, I when I met her, when I first saw her online, she was here. The next day she was online here at the same place. This is where she lives, type of thing? Like a stalker?
Or maybe you could pick the area that you're looking for a person in. because a lot of people don't do dirt close to home.
Yeah. Well, with the guy they went to, we'll talk about that, but
I'm gonna say something, and it does have to do with his sexuality. Mm-hmm. I know you tried to kind of sway away from that.
Yeah.
But in doing some reading, there is a lot of more gay males doing hookups. They just get on things, get on sites, and just to hook up. They may never see that person again or don't care to see that person again. And there's more of them doing hookups than there are straight people. And not saying that heterosexual people don't do hookups, because shit, one night stands is a big thing.
Yeah.
People do go out and end up doing, but there's more gay people that's just going on sites just to have that. I don't know whether it's fun. It could be fun. Just have that fun, that excitement of just meeting up with somebody, having sex, and never seeing them again.
Right, right.
But I think it does play a big part in sexuality and what's going on here on this episode. But, I mean, I'm glad this episode was fair, because they let you know it goes both ways.
Right.
I mean, she may not be on Tinder or may not be on somewhere looking for something, but she hooked up with somebody she just met.
Yep.
So it goes both ways.
Yeah. And the sexual assault goes both ways.
Right.
I will admit, I never, not trying to jump ahead and we'll get to more, but I never even thought of, like, I mean, yes, you've heard of men getting sexually assaulted, but I guess I just never even pictured it in my head, really, or like thought about it much more than hearing the stories. So this, to me, I felt like that was important, which we'll wait till we get to that part. But like,
well, let's finish up with him.
Okay, okay. So you want to just finish it up with Kwame? Okay, so
right.
He meets the guy, and I guess he knows him because his grandma takes his class, and you see Arabella also taking his class. So he's like a fitness instructor.
He's just that fitness guru.
Yeah, and you can tell he has the energy for it and the body. Like his little one-piece outfit was like perfect, and he has that energy for it. So I mean, because if this was already his like third or fourth class for the day, and his energy was still high, he's good. So right. This guy, he's shy. You can tell he's like, he hasn't fully came out yet. He's kind of still questioning his sexuality. Am I? Aren't I? And he's interested in Kwame. He's not interested in like a hookup. He's interested in Kwame himself. But since Kwame's dad, who clearly does not accept him for who he is in town spending the night with Kwame, he's like, we got to go somewhere else. So I assumed then when Kwame said that he was going to, he's like, let me find something. I thought he was going to find another spot like he just found with the guy in the bathroom. I thought they were going to be like, okay, let's go here.
I was thinking hotel.
Okay.
I was thinking maybe he's going to get a hotel.
Yeah. I didn't, whatever the case was, I did not think he meant let's grab a third person.
Well, I guess that's cheaper.
And so like you see him, he says a top and a bottom, need a third to accommodate us. But and Kwame obviously knows his stuff, because all I thought was, how does he know who the top is and who the bottom is? Like, he hasn't been with this guy, so is like, who's the top and who's the bottom? Like, how does he know that?
Oh, you're saying that he didn't really establish that in the conversation?
Yeah, with the guy that he was with, he didn't establish. I mean, I'm guessing Kwame is a bottom, but he didn't ask the guy, are you a top or a bottom?
Right, because if the guy ever like really came out yet,
he doesn't know what he likes or whatever, right? So how would he know what he wants?
Well, maybe Kwame just know his stuff.
Yeah. All right. So when they get to the guy's house, the guy that house they go to is clearly like, he kind of sort of ignores Kwame's friend. Like, let's give Kwame's friend a name. Did we ever get a name from him?
I don't know.
Okay. So I don't know his name. Let's just call him Michael. So Michael is like, he's shy. You could tell he's uncomfortable. And then they do small talk. They do some small talk. And then eventually I think they're in the bedroom, and you can hear the music that Zane, that's the guy whose house they went to. We did get his name. He's playing music, and it is homophobic music.
Yeah.
Or at least,
just that part of it.
At least that part was very homophobic. And Michael says, can you turn this off? And Zane's like, nope. And I'm like, okay.
Well, he didn't say no. He said, you don't like this? But it looks like before he was about to turn it off, something else happened.
No, I'm pretty sure he told him no. He's like, nah, I'm good, mate. or whatever. I mean, I don't know. He said something. I'm pretty sure he was like, nah.
Nah, I thought he was about to do it. I thought he was just asking. He said, "Oh, this not your thing."
Okay. Oh, you know what? I called him Zane. I'm actually getting mixed up. Zane is the one that Bella hooks up with. So this guy, actually, we don't know his name. So Michael is the shy guy. And then what do you want to give the guy whose house they hooked up? What's his name?
That dude was a weird dude.
Okay, weirdo.
The weird guy. I don't.
Weirdo. So Weirdo is like playing the music, and then finally he's like, okay, he wants to hook up, and like they start kind of about to hook up, and Michael's just kind of standing off in the corner being shy, and then like once they literally start having sex, Michael's like, I'm out. I'm like, this. I'm not down with it. This is not my type of scene. You can tell that's not him. You know,
you could tell that he was curious to see what was going on.
Right.
But once it started happening, he was like, nah, it's not doing anything for me.
Right.
I'm out.
Which, not to say that he's not gay. I think he probably is gay or still curious.
But it's not to say that he's
not into this scene.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's not to say that he's not gay or he's gay. It's obviously he's not into this. The what is it? The three-way, the whatever.
Yeah.
The threesome. But I mean, he could be just into Kwame by himself because he did kiss him before they went in.
Yeah. So pretty much after Michael leaves and after they finish having sex and they get dressed, Kwame's trying to leave, and this guy who's way bigger than him shuts the door, and that's when I start getting nervous. I was like, uh-oh, he's like kind of blocking his way.
Yeah.
And this can get dangerous. But then in the back of my head, my ignorant self was like, well, they're two guys. He's going to be able to, like, he's a guy, just move him out of the way. But that's like ignorant way of thinking, which is why I think it's so important that they showed this, because they don't have these conversations enough, I feel, about like men getting sexually assaulted, whether it's by another man or whatever. I mean, the only time you hear about it is in a joke phrase, and it's like when they're talking about like prison. That's the only time you ever hear about like men getting sexually assaulted, which is a whole other conversation. So anywho, I can't really for sure tell like what Weirdo was doing. Like, did he just grind on him, or was Kwame's pants? I mean,
it looked like Kwame's pants was down.
So he actually inserted. You think he inserted?
I don't know. It was hard. It was hard to tell.
See.
Because he said, this is not sex.
Yeah, because Kwame's like, we're not having sex again. He's like, oh, no, it's not sex. And then he also was like, ended it with like, I'm so bad. I'm like, what the fuck? Do you not know you just fucking sexually assaulted this man?
Yeah, so I wondered, was he just grinding on them?
I don't know.
Grinding his... It was hard to tell because you said, is he grinding? And I said, no. I said, pants are down. I think he's sexually assaulting him.
Yeah, I mean, either way
it's sex. Yeah, either way, you know. But I thought he inserted.
Right.
So I guess, you know, we have to read some comments to see what really happened, or just read the reviews on the show.
So Kwame leaves, and he, you know, you see tears on his eyes, and it's just like, I think he's just thinking like, I can't believe this fucking happened to me. And he calls Bella, and you see once again that level of shame that people who've been sexually assaulted, because even though he knows if anybody should know what he's been through, Bella would be.
Right.
But instead, you know, since she's all cool breeze, like, hey, how are you doing? And everything like that. I think he just was like, I'm too embarrassed to tell her what just happened to me.
Well, one thing I think about Kwame, I think he's a really good friend. Mm-hmm. He's a really good friend. He's real genuine.
I agree.
I think that he called her because he's going through something, but you don't know if this is the right time to talk to her about it yet.
Right.
Because she's still going through what she's going through.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, he needed to hear somebody, needed to talk to one of his friends, because I don't think this was an embarrassing moment for him. I think it was more scary than anything.
Yeah.
To know that, hey, this guy was so much bigger, he could have did anything to me.
Right.
I mean, he could have killed me in there, and there was nothing I could do, because the guy was obviously much more stronger than he was.
Yeah.
He held him down. So anything could have happened to him in that room, and I think he was just still, you know, his heart racing. He still was fearful. But you don't want to just talk to a friend that this just happened to.
Right. And like you see, she's still dealing with it. She's still getting flashbacks. So, I mean, that just shows how good of a friend. Hopefully he'll be able to talk to Terry about it And hopefully, like, kind of all three of them can start telling their story or speaking up. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell people, hey, relive your trauma every day, or relive your trauma. Even with Michaela with this show, like her, Arabella with this show, her doing this show, like, this is her real trauma that she's putting into a form of entertainment for people. But at the same time,
right,
I think she knows what it's going to do. She's going to, yes, we're going to laugh here and there, but at the same time, we're going to realize how fucked up shit is sometimes.
It's going to bring attention to a lot of things.
Right.
And then it's hard to judge, because when it was first happening, everything that happened, I was like, man, this is so irresponsible what they're doing. This is so reckless. And I'm saying that as, I'm older now.
Right.
But I've been in a lot of crazy situations and didn't think nothing about it. Because for some reason, when you're younger, you think you're invincible.
Yep.
You just want to get out there. You want to have fun. You don't think nothing can stop you. And if somebody tells you can't do it, you want to do it more.
Yep.
Or you think they're just being a hater, like, oh, you don't want to see me live.
So many things I used to do recklessly when I was younger, and people like, oh, Nicole, it's dangerous. I'm like, nothing's going to happen to me. Oh, no, nothing's going to happen. Like, thinking back of how many times I put myself in situations that something truly bad could have happened, all because I was free and thought, oh, nothing's ever going to happen.
I'm going to tell about the scenario.
Okay.
Me and Nicole, we've been together 16 years.
Yeah.
We got together like just real young. Mm-hmm. So young. When we got together, we were riding the bus or walking to work.
Walking to work, riding the bus,
everything.
Whatever was cheaper.
and I know Nicole told me one day she walked to work and she was like, Gary, this guy touched my butt and ran, and I chased him behind the building. I chased him. He got away. And I was like, you chased him behind the building?
Yep. I remember it like it was yesterday. I was going to talk about this actually on the first episode. Then I was like, no, it's not as serious. But so I was walking, and it was on a main street, a busy street. I remember I was on the phone with my sister. Random guy just walks past me in the opposite direction and slaps my butt or grabs my, like, this is daytime, not even like night. Not saying, I'm just trying to give you a sense of the situation. It was not like it was like in the nightclub scene or crowded street. No, me and him, only one walking down in the middle of the day. And he slaps my butt, and I turn, I'm like, and I'm on the phone with my sister. I'm like, Ebony, this guy literally just touched my ass. And she's like, go run after him. And I'm like, yeah. And literally, what was I going to do? I ran after him. He ran down an alleyway, and I'm running after him. And then I did stop, and I think, Nicole, this is dangerous. Like, you're in an alleyway now at this point. What if you're getting lured here at the same time? As pissed as you are at this, what are you going to do to this man if you do catch up to him? So I ended it with that, but...
Yeah, and when you told me later on, I was like, man, that was dangerous. Why'd you chase him?
What did I say?
I don't know.
I was like, he shouldn't have touched my ass. I was very, very, very wild when I was younger. Very like, hey, I'm a grown up. Don't do anything to me if I don't want it done. And yeah, I don't. That.
Oh yeah, you was feisty. You were real feisty.
So.
But yeah, so I was like, man, that was so dangerous because he was probably trying to lure you.
Yeah, you're right. And that's not even the most dangerous situation I've ever been in. So I'm looking at Kwame now, in my, more mature age, and I'm like, oh my gosh, please stop doing this. Please, this is so dangerous. So even like with the young ladies last week, I'm like, oh no, this is so dangerous. It's so dangerous. And, there's things that you do when you're younger, and not calling young people stupid. It's just that you don't have that fear because nothing's bad ever happened to you, or you don't even know about, you don't even think of something situation that could happen to you because you think you're okay. So
think you're immortal.
Yeah. So yeah, this situation with Kwame was very, very sad, and I'm glad Michael got the fuck up out of there, because if he would have stayed, it may have not happened, but that's not on him, and it's not on Kwame either. Not blaming the victim.
Right.
All right, so we'll see if he ends up telling Terry or someone else what happened. I definitely feel like he needs to talk about it, and I feel like he needs to report it, but he may not want to, especially how society judges people. I mean, he should. Let me be clear. He definitely should report it, but I feel like how society judges hookups, and especially gay hookups and stuff like that, like, rather than police going and getting this man for sexual assault, they'll like blame Kwame. Well, you shouldn't have been hooking up, or They're just the way our world works is messed up when it comes to that.
And especially, they probably didn't exchange names. That's probably why we don't know names.
Well, he knows where the guy lives, so.
I mean, the guy probably just sent him an address. You don't know what name he used on those sites.
Yeah.
But I'm saying, though, although he could point the police straight to him, he probably can't tell the police his name.
Oh, the guy's name, yeah.
Because, and now picture how embarrassing that is.
Yeah.
Who was the guy? Well, it was just somebody I just met online, and so y'all didn't catch names?
Or, wait, so you
No
did have
information?
sex with him earlier that night, but then when he went to have sex again, you said no? So why? Like, because I'm just thinking about how they treat women who come forward with sexual assault, and they don't let women tell their story. They're really definitely not going to do it for a gay black man, in my opinion.
Well, not tell the story, but just be very judgmental.
Right.
You know, every question they ask seemed kind of condescending.
Yep. And victim blaming. Goes back to, honestly, still say, watch the show, Unbelievable, on Netflix. So, all right. So we get over to Bella. She is meeting with a young, I don't know who this guy is, Zane. He's like there kind of help her with her writing.
Right. It's someone that works for the same book firm.
Right. But he's automatically very judgmental, sort of, of her. He's asking her credentials. It was funny. He's like, what's your background? And she's like, Nigeria. And the reason why he's like, no, like your writing background. And it's funny, but it was so real because if you know how people are, generally when they go like, where are you from? Especially when it's like if you're a person of color and they go, where are you from? And instead of saying like, oh, San Diego or something. I mean, I don't know if they do it necessarily with African Americans, but like, you know, you hear people like Asians or Indians people, they get it a lot. Like, oh, where are you from? And you're like, New York. And they're like, no, really from? Like, so I think she hears that question so many times, she just went straight to it. Nigeria.
Right. Yeah.
And then it was like not even that, it was not that type of situation this time. So he laughed and he was like, no, like, what are your background? That's what it was. What's your background as far as your professional background? So.
Yeah. And you get that a lot also when people ask about your professional background, especially when they did all these years of college. They have, so many other credentials they had to go through, got the certificate in this, they got this and that. And now they want to know, how are you on the same level as them?
Right.
Or what makes you. So they ask you like, so what's your professional background? And they hate to hear you or see you have done something or hear you say you've done something less than them.
Oh, yeah. All the time.
Yeah, I just went to this community school and did this, that, the other. And I'm here.
Right. All the time. Like, I'm in the science world, but don't have a science background. So I know when colleagues or different people I'm working with, they always go, like, what's your background? And I'm like, oh, sociology. And they're like, how'd you get into this field? And like, you could tell the moment I let them know that I don't have the science background, like, they act like they're better. And then to find out most of the people in my profession don't have a science background. And I'm like, oh, so we're just acting like I'm the only one without the science background that's here. It's very common in my industry. But so I kind of felt her with that because it's like, yeah, you have the Cambridge, you have the papers, and well, that comes later when she was like, you hug your certificate at night. But there's so many different ways to get to a certain place, and yeah, there's the traditional route, and there's different ways to get to a certain place.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways. But the people that, take the traditional route, they always look down at people who did it.
Right. Not all people, but there's a lot of them out there. There's definitely a lot of them out there. So Zane, you can tell he's being an asshole, but Bella, she's like too nervous right now. She's not even paying attention. She's half paying attention because she's getting flashbacks of being in a crowded place. She's at a bar. And although she's like, no water, she doesn't even want water because she doesn't trust it. She just dips out of it. She's like, I can't even be here. And I think later on when she brings it up, she could tell, yes, he was being an asshole, but she was too concerned with the fact that she was so uncomfortable being in that place where they actually serve you drinks.
Right.
And I didn't like it when he was like, yeah, I didn't know that, I can sub 3 years at uni for a Twitter account. Like, you asshole.
He was an asshole. But what I did notice about it is, when he gave her the option, she didn't want to be alone with him. Mm-hmm. She was like, okay, is either go to the bar that I don't want to have anything to drink, that something happened to me last time, or whoever is supposed to be at the firm or the place they're at, they're not here tonight, so we got it to ourselves. And she chose like, well, no, let's go to the bar. I prefer to go to where there's a lot of people around, which for some reason that didn't work in her favor last time.
Yeah.
But she made sure not to drink this time.
Yeah. She's like, well, I'm going to be around other people, but I won't drink. So if I don't drink, I'm hoping I'm safe.
Right. But, going back, and you spoke about it, your science background. And me and Nicole, we're in a similar industry. Mm-hmm. And my background, I don't have a background in anything but management. So I was talking to someone before, and they was telling me about the person who was there before me or the person that was below him. It was like, yeah, this person, he wanted the job that you have, and they told him that, he had to have a degree in this, that, the other. And I was like, okay. But I didn't tell the guy, well, I don't have a degree. My only background is managing people. So it is, by him saying that let me know that he had a degree, and it was kind of like, if I would have said, well, nah, I really don't, then it would have been like a little judgmental situation.
Definitely.
So sometimes people that don't have the background as everybody else around them, they really don't say anything. Or they don't want to talk about it because, like, no one wants to feel like, hey, I went through all this, and this person, like he said, got a Twitter account, and we're on the same level.
Right. And then it sort of ends up messing with your self-esteem because later on, Arabella, when Zane comes to her house, he's like, yeah, it was good. And she's like, was it good or was it good considering? And it's like now she's doubting herself. Like, oh, am I good? Is it a good paper or is it good considering that I'm just a Twitter writer?
Right.
And it was like there's so many ways, and I'm not.
I guess
judging.
you can. I mean, don't mess with mine.
Huh?
Don't mess with mine. I'm still doing my thing. But.
Right. Well, yeah. It doesn't mess with everyone's self-esteem, but it can kind of hurt when all of a sudden now, like everything else that is going into question because you don't have like the proper background or the same background as this person who thinks that they went the traditional route or whatever.
Right.
So somehow they decide they're going to hook up. She has a hard time because at first she sees her rapist, like she sees Zane as her rapist. Like that's how, when she starts hooking up with him, and then she like had to smoke a blunt real quick. And then we see her and Zane have sex. She told him put a condom on. He took the condom off like immediately after she turned around, which to me is considered rape, in my opinion. It's definitely considered sexual assault because she was having sex with you under the guise that you had a condom on. What do you have to say? There's a long pause from Gary, so I'm assuming he doesn't agree with me.
I agree with you that it's wrong. What he did was dead wrong. But I think my issue with the whole thing is I was hoping that she would make a big issue out of it. I was hoping that she would let him know, like, no, this is wrong. This is this. I told you to use a condom. But the thing is, only thing she said was, I'm not on birth control. You're going to have to buy the pill. So to me, that kind of changed the whole situation. And I'm not saying that it's right. What he did, it was dead wrong. And I told you before that, I had a friend that told me he did that shit. Said, oh yeah, as soon as he turned around, doggy said, I popped it off. And I'm thinking, me personally, I'm thinking like, you nasty as hell because you don't know what she got. Mm-hmm. She told you to put a condom on because she don't know what you got, but she could have told you to put a condom on to protect you from her.
Right.
So first of all, that's just a nasty situation to begin with. But she just didn't, her attitude wasn't, this is wrong, this is sexual assault. So for some reason, I couldn't see it like that.
I see what you're saying, and I was actually disappointed in her reaction. Like, after everything that just happened to her, and I'm not, like, victim blaming or anything like that, because what he did is wrong. I think we can all agree on that. I was just mad that she, like, didn't cuss his ass out, didn't kick him out of the apartment right away. I don't know. And then afterwards, They went and got the Plan B pill, and they walked home together, and it was like, she was just laughing and having it, like, they were just on a normal date, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how are you not more mad than this?
Yeah, I think her reaction changed what I thought about the situation.
Right. Yeah, because I was waiting for a big moment. And then even when he said, he's like, yeah, I took it off. And she's like, no. He's like, yeah, I thought you said it was cool. I'm like, dude, you fucking liar. You knew she didn't say it was cool.
Well, he knew. He didn't say that. He said, I thought you knew.
Oh, I thought you knew, yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, I thought you felt it because, it's a different feeling.
Right. So. All right. Anything else you want to add? That was everything. Like I said, I wasn't feeling this episode. It was just too sad. So much sadness. So.
I thought this was a damn good episode.
Not saying it wasn't.
And
I
thought it just showed a lot of things that, when you're young, when your responsibilities are limited. Everything, people mature in age, but I'm glad it showed that people have that attitude where this can't happen to me.
Right.
I'm going to just be free. I'm going to have my fun. And it's showing that there's a lot of different sexual assaults. It's a lot of different things that can lead to it. It's a lot of different ways that could be considered sexual assault.
Right.
Because it's not just that I put something in your drink and had sex with you, or it's not just that I raped you. I took you while you fought. There's
ways.
A lot of different ways that this could happen. And there's a lot of different things that could lead to it. And I'm glad this show is like pinpointing different situations, other ways that this can happen.
Right. And you're right with that. Even going back last week with Terry's situation, yes, she consented, but she consented under a lie. Even with Kwame's situation, the guy that raped him, he may not feel like he did because he's like, well, I just had sex with him and he consented to that. And then he even said it. He's like, I'm a bad boy sometimes. So like,
or he probably didn't penetrate, so he felt like it wasn't rape.
Right. So I'm very glad they're highlighting this because all of these things that have taken place has been wrong. And hopefully, especially with young men and women, there's a lot of times where the men say they didn't know. And I know they're trying to teach that to young kids these days. Like, hey, just because the person doesn't say no doesn't mean it's not a no. There's so many different ways that they can tell you it's no. Because it's getting real, I want to say confusing to a lot of people. Because there's a situation right now, like Russell Simmons going through a situation. And he's saying that, a lady he was with, that, she consented to it. She didn't say no. It happened. And she's saying that she was so scared at the time because he's such a powerful person and she didn't know what he would do to her if she said no. So it's a lot of different ways, like, men in power, women in power. It's showing you can't use your power to have sex with somebody. Mm-hmm. Because you don't know if it's not an agreement, or you don't see, because obviously to her, she didn't, give off anything that, she was sexually interested in him. Right. Which we saw this. They talked about that in the morning show. Remember the morning show we watched with Reese and Jennifer Aniston?
Right.
And they kind of talked about that too. When people are in power, that's why you're not supposed to have sex with that's not the only reason, but like if someone that's in jail, even if they said yes, you can't because you have power over them.
What'd you call it? One of your subordinates?
Yes. And the same thing right now is being discussed. I don't want to really throw it out there because it's maybe just rumor, but the last 24 hours, Twitter has been talking about Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith and saying that like August Alsina, I think his name is, young guy apparently, and maybe Jada was having some type of relationship with him, and I saw a lot of people saying that if so, that relationship could have been inappropriate, even though he was of age. The fact that he was going through some things when they met, and she was sort of supposed to be helping him and mentor him while he was going through a difficult time, and somehow they started a relationship during that time. But that was all trending all day yesterday. But then today I saw a statement saying that Jada Pinkett Smith is saying that did not happen. But either way, sexual assault comes in so many different forms from either gender.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. But that right there, I don't know. I don't know if I see that as sexual assault. If two people are consenting adults, I'm going through something, and Jada Pinkett Smith is helping me go through it, and what happens.
Well, it goes back to the power. You watched the morning show with me, right?
But in that sense, I don't think she had any power over him. She wasn't. She's not his boss.
If she's supposed to be mentoring
she's
him.
She's not giving him any finances. Like, she's not paying him to do anything. He really don't need her. She's more of a, I don't know. I don't see how that could be sexual assault.
Well, I don't know if anyone used the word sexual assault, but they
so you just made that up?
No. They use the word creepy and like inappropriate, and
now I can't see something being inappropriate.
Yeah, I mean,
but not for those reasons.
Okay, it wasn't to the point where could she get arrested? No, but could this not be a good look for her? Definitely.
And then, I mean, she doesn't have any medical license. She's not his strength. She's not nothing. She's just somebody who he had a conversation with about his problems.
All right. Well, we'll see. If something more comes, if the story develops more, sometimes, these stories are hot 24 hours and they're gone. So if it develops more, we'll talk about it next week. If it's dropped, then sorry I even brought it up, especially if it's not true. Because
it's allegedly.
Allegedly, yes.
Allegedly.
So... Even I hate when they say allegedly and there's like video evidence. Allegedly, I'm like, no, it's not allegedly. I'm watching them on the video doing
well, they don't say that for a minority.
They're like, this young man.
They don't have to have no evidence.
No evidence. He's guilty.
They don't use the word allegedly.
I'm like, when they say allegedly, I'm like, why are you saying allegedly? We all saw it happen, dude. So
it's only for other people that we can see it happen, and it's still allegedly.
Right. I saw this email. This is the last thing I'll say because I know we're going on. I saw this email, I'm not going to say, from a university recently here in Atlanta, and there was a sexual assault taking place on an elevator. That's all I'll say. And they described the man. They're like, yes, man had a shirt on and a mask, like a little face mask on. But it didn't say anything else, described him anything else. Like, okay, what color was he? How tall was he? And I was like, I just assume he's white because they never say the race if the person's white. Like, that's how you know they're white because they never say it.
Well, for some reason, and this is the last thing I'm going to say on it, and I just want everybody to hear what I'm saying clearly. When it's somebody white, there is no race. There is no color. Mm-hmm. There's nothing.
That's because that's like considered the default.
There's... I don't know about the default, but if there's so many black people in a movie, it's a black movie. Mm-hmm. It could be a movie with a number of white people in it. It's just a movie.
This movie. Yeah.
It's just a song. It's just a label. It's just a genre. It's never a color, a race. When they're talking about on the news, if it's a white person, they're not African American. They're not Caucasian. They don't have to use any of that.
Yep.
They just... a person wearing a green sweater.
Yep.
A person that was 6 feet tall wearing a green sweater. If it's somebody of color, then it's always, you have to mention a black, this person was Hispanic, this person is Asian. Yep. It's always that. But when it's a white person, for some reason, it's never race, it's never color to anything.
Yep, it's never mentioned. Not even, like you said in movies.
That's a big part of America when they say that, we're all American. No, we're not. Because, white Americans, you don't call them white Americans. Mm-hmm. We call them white Americans, but they're just considered Americans.
Right.
Black Americans, we're Afro-Americans, African Americans, Black Americans, Asian American, mm-hmm. Hispanic American. Everybody else have something behind that American.
Right. Which is almost trying to imply they're not as American as the next. They're this/American. They're like half American. That's how I take it.
Well, that's just something that I noticed that, it's never a race or anything else to it, but a height, a clothing object, a look on the face, a hair type. That's it.
Even this show may be considered, I May Destroy You may be considered a black show. Because it's...
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah.
In fact, I know for a fact it is.
All right. That is all, you guys. We would love to hear from you, though. Host at theverdictsend.com. That is HOSTS at theverdictsend.com. You can also hit us up on Twitter at theverdictsend or facebook.com/theverdictsend. And also be sure to leave us a review and rating on Apple Podcasts under The Verdict's End. We would greatly appreciate it. Until then, I'm Nicole.
I'm Gary.
Bye.